The locker room door slammed behind me like a gunshot, echoing off the tiled walls. But it was the whisper that hit harder, a low, guttural growl that slithered into my ears. "You think you're safe out there, little lamb? We're just getting started." I froze, heart pounding against my ribs, as the steam from the showers blurred the figures emerging from the haze. Tall, broad-shouldered shadows with eyes that gleamed like predators in the half-light, their laughter a velvet blade slicing through the humid air. And then one stepped forward, his face half-lit by the flickering fluorescent bulb, smirking as if he'd just peeled back the skin of my ordinary world to reveal the raw, throbbing secret beneath. "My name's Alex Harper, and up until that muggy September afternoon in Elmwood High, I convinced myself life was a straight line. Pun intended, though I'd buried that part of me so deep it felt like a fossil in my chest." Elmwood was the kind of small-town Ohio purgatory where Friday nights meant football under floodlights, cheerleaders in pleated skirts flipping somersaults for boys who smelled like Axe body spray and entitlement, and everyone pretending the world ended at the county line. I was the invisible guy junior year, lanky frame hidden under hoodies 2 sizes too big, nose always in a dog-eared copy of The Catcher in the Rye because Holden Caulfield got the angst without the spotlight. Gay? Yeah. But that was my midnight confession to the glow-in-the-dark stars on my ceiling, whispered so low even the crickets outside my window pitied me. That day, though, practice ran late. Coach Harlan had us running suicides until our cleats squeaked bloody on the AstroTurf, and I lingered in the locker room longer than usual, hoping the crowd would thin out before I changed. Paranoia. Maybe last week, some jock had scrawled "fag" on my gym bag in Sharpie, and the janitor's half-assed scrub job left the ghost of the word staring back at me. I was fumbling with my lock when the door banged open, admitting a rush of hot air and the thunder of cleats. The varsity alphas, the gods of Elmwood, all muscle and bravado, led by Joshua Kane, the quarterback whose smile could melt polar ice caps and whose arm launched spirals like guided missiles. Joshua was everything I wasn't, 6'2" of sun-kissed perfection, with tousled chestnut hair that fell just so over hazel eyes that crinkled when he laughed, which was often and loud, like he owned the oxygen in every room. He was the guy who high-fived teachers in the halls, volunteered at the animal shelter on weekends, and dated Sarah, the Ice Queen Montgomery, without ever seeming to notice how her daddy's oil money greased the wheels of his college scouts. I watched him from afar, the way his jersey clung to the V of his back after a sprint, how his laugh boomed over the bleachers. Safe distance, always, until now. They piled in, towels snapping like whips, banter flying thick as the steam. "Did you see that wide receiver trip over his own dick?" "Nah, man. He was dodging ghosts. Probably saw your ugly mug in the end zone." Laughter erupted, and I shrank into my corner, backpack clutched like a shield. But then the showers hissed on, and the group splintered, most heading for the stalls, a few lingering by the benches. That's when I heard it. Not the usual shit talk, but something lower, laced with an edge that prickled my skin. "Told you. The new kids got that vibe. Fresh meat." The voice was Caleb's, Joshua's best friend since Pee Wee League, the running back with ink-black hair cropped military short, a jawline sharp enough to cut glass, and tattoos snaking up his arms like secrets he wore on his sleeves. Caleb was the enforcer, the one who stared down rivals until they folded, his green eyes cold as creek water in January. He was leaning against the lockers, phone in hand, scrolling something that made his lips curl. Joshua snorted, stripping off his pads with casual grace. "Ease up, Cal. Not everyone's ready for the pack." Pack? My breath hitched, I must have shifted, because suddenly all eyes swung my way. 5 of them. The inner circle, Joshua, Caleb, and 3 others I recognized from the field, Tyler the linebacker, with his buzz cut and perpetual scowl. Marcus, the kicker, lithe and sly like a fox, and Devin, the wideout, whose dreads swung like pendulums as he grinned wolfishly. For a heartbeat, silence stretched taut as a bowstring. Then Joshua's gaze locked on mine, and something electric crackled in the air. Not pity, not mockery, but hunger. Harper, right? You sticking around for the show? I bolted. Or tried to. My sneakers squeaked on the wet tile, bag banging against my hip as I lunged for the door. But Caleb was faster, his hand clamping my shoulder like a vice, spinning me back with effortless strength. Whoa! Easy there, rabbit. We're not gonna bite. Yet, the others chuckled, low and rumbling, circling loose like they owned the room, which they did. Joshua stepped closer, close enough I could smell the salt of his sweat mixed with cedar cologne, his chest rising and falling inches from mine. Relax, Alex. You're not in trouble. Unless you want to be. My mouth went dry, words tangling in my throat. This wasn't the script. In my head, they'd corner me, hurl slurs, leave me bruised and broken. But their eyes, they weren't angry. They were appraising, stripping me bare without a touch. Tyler leaned in, his massive frame blocking the exit. He smells nervous. Fresh. Shut it. Ty, Joshua murmured, but there was no heat in it. His hand, his hand brushed my arm, light as a feather, sending sparks up my spine. Look, man, we saw you watching. From the bleachers, the halls. You're not like the others. Hiding. Yeah, we get it. Caleb's grip loosened, but he didn't let go, his thumb tracing a lazy circle on my collarbone that made my knees buckle. Elmwood's a cage, Alex. Straight jackets and Sunday sermons. But we've got a key. A door. You in, or you out? I stared, pulse thundering in my ears. The steam swirled around us, turning the world hazy, and in that moment, the ordinary cracked wide open. These weren't just jocks. They were something feral, something forbidden, a secret crowd of alphas who'd carved out a hidden world right under the fluorescent lights of our nowhere town. And they were offering me a ticket inside. That night, I lay awake in my twin bed, posters of indie bands peeling from the walls, the hum of the AC unit my only company. Mom was downstairs, nursing a glass of Chardonnay while Dad snored through Monday night football reruns, oblivious as ever to the storm brewing in their son's head. Joshua's words looped like a fever dream. You're not like the others. What did that even mean? Invitation or trap? By dawn, curiosity had clawed its way past fear. I texted the number Caleb slipped me on a torn scrap of gym towel. Meet at the old mill, 8 p.m. Come alone. The mill loomed on the edge of town, a rusted skeleton of Elmwood's steel-belted glory days, weeds choking the chain-link fence like nature's revenge. Twilight painted the sky bruise purple, fireflies winking like conspirators as I pedaled up on my beat-up Schwinn, heart jackhammering. No one came here anymore, not since the floods of '09 turned it into a liability lawsuit waiting to happen. Perfect for secrets. They were already there, silhouetted against the graffiti-tagged walls. The 5 of them, shirts off despite the chill, bodies honed by endless drills gleaming under the fading sun. Joshua spotted me first, waving me over with that easy grin that hid sharper edges. Knew you'd show. Gutsy move. Harper. Caleb hung back, arms crossed over his inked chest, sizing me up like a steak. Told you he'd bite. The others nodded. Tyler cracking his knuckles. Marcus flipping a lighter with hypnotic flicks. Devin stretching languidly, his abs rippling like waves on Lake Erie. Joshua pulled me aside, his voice dropping to a rumble that vibrated through my bones. This isn't some after-school club, Alex. We're the pack. Started sophomore year, when Cal and I figured shit out about ourselves. Tired of pretending, of watching guys like us drown in this town's bullshit. We found each other, literally, in a brawl behind the diner. Punched first, talked later. Now we run deep, hunts in the woods, bonfires where we don't hold back. No labels, no apologies. Just us. Alphas. All the way. My throat tightened. Gay alphas? In Elmwood? You're shitting me. He laughed. A sound like thunder rolling in. Bigger than that. We're outlaws in sheep's clothing. Football keeps the cover, straight facade for the scouts. The town. But here, we're free. His eyes darkened, hand grazing mine. And we think you'd fit. That fire in you, under the hoodies, is alpha too. Just needs waking. Before I could stammer a response, Caleb sauntered over, slinging an arm around Joshua's shoulders possessively. Show him the mark. Josh. Joshua hesitated, then tugged down the waistband of his sweats just enough. There, on his hip bone, a tattoo, a snarling wolf's head, encircled by thorns. Primal. Permanent. Your turn soon, Caleb said, his breath hot against my ear. If you join. The initiation was a blur of adrenaline and ache. They blindfolded me, led me into the mill's cavernous gut where moonlight slanted through broken panes like silver knives. Chants low, rhythmic, echoed off the beams as they circled me, hands passing a flask of something fiery that burned going down and lit me up inside. Questions came like blows. What scares you most? The mirror. Every morning. What do you crave? Touch that doesn't flinch. Joshua's voice cut through. Steady. Prove your pack. Strip the fear. I did. Shirt off. Then jeans. Standing raw in the chill. Their gazes a tangible weight. Appreciative. Not mocking. Caleb's approval was a nod. Tyler's a whoop. And Joshua. His touch. When he traced the tattoo needle later that night, Devin was an artist. Steady hand in the flickering lantern light was fire and forgiveness. The wolf on my skin, thorns biting in black ink. It hurt like hell, but it bound me. To them. To him. Weeks blurred into a fevered rhythm. By day, Elmwood High was the same grind. AP lit debates on Gatsby's green light. Cafeteria trays slopping mystery meat. Sarah Montgomery batting lashes at Joshua while I doodled wolves in my margins. But nights, the pack owned the dark. We'd pile into Caleb's F-150, tires churning gravel to the ravine where bonfires roared high as our secrets. Stories spilled like whiskey. Marcus coming out to his preacher dad, only to get disowned. Devin's first fumbling hookup in a college dorm that ended in tears and triumph. Tyler's silent rage at his own reflection until the pack pulled him from the edge. Joshua and I started slow, a brush of knuckles during drills, a shared glance in the huddle that said more than any playbook. He was sunlight warm, relentless, drawing me out of my shell. We'd sneak off during hunts. His lips claiming mine under the canopy of ancient oaks, hands mapping territories no map could chart. You're mine now, Alex, He'd murmur against my neck, teeth grazing just enough to mark without ink. Pack's family, but this is us. Caleb watched, always, his green eyes shadowed, a storm brewing behind the bro-code facade. He and Joshua were thick as thieves, closer than blood. Rumors whispered they'd been each other's first everything, back when hormones hit like hurricanes. But Joshua chose me, or so I thought, pulling away from Cal's rougher edges for my quieter fire. Jealousy simmered, unspoken, in the way Caleb's tackles lingered too long on the field, his laughs a beat too sharp at our inside jokes. Fall crescendoed toward homecoming, the town's Mardi Gras of mediocrity. Floats dripping crepe paper, the gym strung with fairy lights that mocked our hidden world. I was Joshua's date in plain sight, just friends, arms slung casual over my shoulder for the cameras, but under the bleachers, his kisses were claims, fierce and forgetting. "I love you," he whispered that night, the bass from the DJ thumping like a second heartbeat. Love. The word hung heavy, a vow in the confetti-strewn air. But vows break. The betrayal hit like a blindside sack. 2 nights later at the mill. I'd arrived early, buzzing from Joshua's promise of a private hunt. Just us, no pack. The air was thick with the scent of rain-damp earth when I heard them. Grunts, low moans echoing from the shadows. Heart in my throat, I crept closer, the wolf tattoo throbbing like a fresh wound. There, in the lantern's glow, Joshua, pressed against the wall, Caleb's body caging his, hands everywhere, mouths crashing in a rhythm older than words. Not a fight, not a mistake. Hunger. Joshua's eyes met mine over Caleb's shoulder, widening in shock, then flickering with something darker. Guilt? Defiance? "Alex, wait, I didn't." The world tilted, bile rising as I stumbled back, the mill's rusted beams blurring through tears. Betrayal wasn't just the act. It was the lie woven through every touch, every us. The pack wasn't family. It was a cage with gilded bars, alphas devouring their own. I ran, blind through the woods, branches whipping my face like accusations, until I collapsed by the creek, sobs racking me raw. Dawn found me there, shivering in the mud, when tires crunched gravel. Joshua's voice, cracked and pleading, "Alex, please." It wasn't Cal and I. It's complicated. History. But you're the future. He dropped to his knees beside me, mud staining his jeans, hands hovering like he feared I'd shatter. I fucked up. The pack. It's blood. But this, you and me, it's everything. Behind him, the others gathered, shadows in the mist, Tyler silent, Marcus fidgeting, Devin murmuring apologies. Caleb last, face a thundercloud, fists balled. He doesn't get it. Josh. The pack comes first. Always has. Joshua whirled, fury igniting. "No, Cal. You don't get it. This town's killing us, pretending, hiding, tearing at each other like dogs. Alex sees it. He feels it. And if choosing him means breaking the pack." His voice broke, eyes locking on mine, desperate. "Then we rebuild. Better." The air crackled, the pack fracturing before me. Tyler's growl, Marcus's plea, Devin's step back. Caleb lunged, shoving Joshua hard enough to stagger him. "You're throwing us away? For him? The rabbit who just hopped in." I rose then, mud-caked and trembling, the wolf on my hip a brand that burned. "I'm no rabbit, Caleb. And this pack? It's poison if it chains us. My voice surprised me, steady, alpha in its own right. Joshua's gaze swelled with pride, reaching for me. But Caleb's laugh was bitter, shattering the dawn. Fine. Walk. But remember, Josh, blood don't wash off easy. He stormed to the truck, the others trailing, the engine's roar a farewell dirge. We stood there, Joshua and I, as the taillights faded into the fog. His arms wrapped around me, solid and sure, our foreheads touching in the chill. I'm sorry, he breathed, for all of it. But I'm yours. If you'll have me, the creek babbled on, indifferent witness to our wreckage. Love wasn't clean, not in Elmwood, not with its thorns and teeth. But in that broken moment, with the pack splintered and the sun cresting gold, I saw it. Not an end, but a beginning. Human, messy, real. I kissed him, tasting salt and second chances, and whispered, always. Winter clamped down on Elmwood like a jealous lover, blanketing the fields in frost that crunched underfoot and turned the mill into a ghost of itself. Icicles daggering from the eaves, our bonfire pit a frozen scar. Homecoming's glitter had faded to gray slush in the gutters, and the pack's fracture echoed through the halls like a fault line. Tyler and Marcus stuck close to Caleb, their loyalties a quiet rebellion, while Devin drifted neutral, catching my eye in chem lab with a nod that said no hard feelings. Caleb? He was ice incarnate, brushing past me in the corridors without a glance, his tackles on the field vicious enough to draw coach's whistle, his glares at Joshua twin daggers during huddles. Joshua and I carved our own rhythm, fragile as new ice but thawing warmer each day. Mornings meant stolen coffees at the diner's back booth, his knee pressed to mine under the Formica table, fingers interlacing like puzzle pieces we'd only just discovered fit. Missed this, he'd say, thumb stroking my knuckles. His hazel eyes soft in the sodium glow of the dash lights as we drove aimless loops on country roads, radio crooning Springsteen ballads about working-class dreams we both chased in whispers. But guilt gnawed at him, a shadow under his smiles. Late nights, tangled in the sheets of my attic room. Mom downstairs oblivious, Dad's snores a distant rumble. He'd trace the wolf on my hip, voice muffled against my shoulder. Cal's my brother, Alex. Not blood, but close. We were kids, fumbling through the dark. That night, it wasn't about wanting him. It was habit. Fear of losing the only piece of me that felt real. I'd hold him tighter, my own fears bubbling up like creek mud. And now, am I real enough? The question hung, vulnerable, but his answer was always the same. A kiss that deepened until words dissolved, bodies speaking the truth our town denied. Sex with Joshua was revelation, slow at first, exploratory, his hands reverent on my skin as if mapping constellations. Then fiercer, alpha to alpha, nails raking backs, gasps echoing off the rafters. In those moments, Elmwood vanished. We were boundless, wolves unchained. School, though, was the grindstone sharpening our edges. Whispers started subtle at first, like smoke under a door. Sarah Montgomery cornered me in the girls' bathroom line, irony noted, her lip gloss smirk a weapon. Heard you and Josh are tight these days. Careful, Harper. Alphas don't share well. Her laugh tinkled like breaking glass, but her eyes held warning. Caleb's doing, no doubt poison seeping through the cracks. The conflict crested mid-November, frostbite nipping at our practices as playoffs loomed. Coach announced the annual team-building retreat. A weekend at his cabin up in Hocking Hills, all bonding exercises and mental toughness drills that reeked of forced masculinity. The pack's remnants were split, Joshua and I bunking with Devin, Caleb claiming the other room with Tyler and Marcus. Tension hummed like a live wire, meals eaten in silence broken only by the crackle of the fire. That first night, around the pit, sparks spiraling into the star-pricked sky, Joshua tried bridging the chasm. "Guys, we're bleeding out here. Elmwood's got enough enemies. Scouts sniffing for weakness, townies praying we choke. We need the pack whole." His voice carried that quarterback command, steady as a spiral. Caleb stared into the flames, beer bottle dangling from tattooed fingers. "Whole, you gutted us, Josh." For him, the word spat like venom, his green eyes flicking to me, hatred laced with hurt, raw as an open wound. Devin shifted, dread swaying. "Ease up, Cal. Alex's pack." Ink don't lie. Tyler grunted agreement, but Marcus fidgeted, lighter clicking nervously. "It's not about Alex. It's Josh picking sides. Like we're disposable." I stayed silent, throat tight, the fire's heat warring with the chill in my gut. Joshua's hand found mine in the dark, squeezing a lifeline. But Caleb rose then, towering silhouette against the blaze. "Sides? This ain't a game. It's survival. And you, Harper, you waltz in, playhouse, and now we're fractured? You think you know alphas? You're a pup, chasing tails." The words landed like fists, but Joshua surged up, shoving Caleb back a step. "Enough. He's more alpha than you've been lately, hiding behind grudges instead of leading." Fists clenched, breaths heaving, they squared off, brothers turned beasts, the air thick with the scent of pine and impending violence. Devin hauled them apart, Tyler looming as backup, but the damage was done. That night, in our loft bunk, Joshua paced like a caged wolf, frustration boiling over. "I can't lose them, Alex. Not all of them. But I won't lose you." His plea hung heavy, and I pulled him down, bodies colliding in a storm of need, rougher than usual, teeth and territory, reclaiming what words couldn't. Morning brought drills, trust falls in the leaf-choked woods, blindfolded navigations that tested more than balance. Paired with Caleb for one, his hand steady on my back as I fell backward into nothing. Trust felt like a joke, his grip lingering too tight, breath hot on my neck. "You stole him," he muttered, low enough the others missed it. But wolves don't forget scents. By afternoon, the real storm broke, not metaphorical, but thunderheads rolling in gray and gravid, rain lashing the cabin like judgment. We huddled inside, cards slapped down in tense games of spades, but the air crackled with unspoken thunder. Joshua tried again at dinner, over venison stew that tasted like ash. "We're better together. All of us. No more secrets." Caleb's fork clattered. "Secrets? Like you fucking the newbie while I pine like some beta bitch." The room froze, confession exploding like buckshot. Tyler choked on his beer. Marcus's eyes widened. Devin's jaw set. Joshua paled, hand reaching across the table. "Cal, that's not." But Caleb was on his feet, chair scraping back. "Don't. Just don't. You think I don't see it? The way you look at him, like he's the sun and I'm the eclipse. We built this, Josh. You and me, first. Before ink, before the others. And you toss it for puppy love." I stood then, pulse roaring, rain drumming a war beat on the tin roof. It's not puppy love, Caleb. It's real. And if it threatens your ego, maybe the pack was never about strength, it was about control. His laugh was hollow, eyes glistening, hurt, not hate, for the first time. Control, kid? This town chews up queers like us. The pack's the only armor we've got. You crack it, we all bleed. Joshua moved between us, voice breaking the standoff. Then we forge new armor. Together. Or not at all. Silence stretched. Rain a relentless curtain. Until Devon nodded slow. He's right, Kel. We adapt or die. Tyler rumbled assent. Marcus too. Caleb held out longest. Gaze locked on Joshua's. A lifetime of brotherhood flashing in the firelight. Then, a nod. Grudging as winter thaw. For the pack, he muttered, sinking back. But don't make me regret it, Harper. That night, the storm peaked, lightning fracturing the sky as Joshua and I slipped out to the porch, wrapped in a shared quilt. Rain sheeted down, but his arms were haven, lips soft against my temple. Thank you, he whispered, for fighting for us. The word bloomed warm in my chest, even as thunder growled warnings. Love was storm-tossed, but in its fury, we found footing, alphas not despite our cracks, but because of them. Yet betrayal's echo lingered, a shadow in Caleb's averted eyes, and as playoffs dawned, I wondered if forgiveness was glue or just a prettier fracture. Playoffs hit Elmwood like a freight train, the stadium lights blazing holy against November's early dark, bleachers packed with flannel-clad faithful waving foam fingers and chugging thermoses of spiked cocoa. We were underdogs, Elmwood Wolves versus the juggernaut Crestview Cougars, a rivalry etched in blood and bad blood since the 70s oil bust. Coach Harlan barked us into shape, his whistle a clarion call, but beneath the gridiron grit, the pack mended slow. Caleb's tackles softened from vengeful to vigilant, his post-game claps on my shoulder-tentative bridges. Good block. Pup, he'd grunt, the nickname shifting from slur to shorthand. Devon mediated with easy charm, Marcus's jokes a bomb, Tyler's silence a vote of quiet confidence. Joshua, he was the sun, orbiting me with touches that grounded us both. A hip check in the huddle, a wink across the line. Off-field, our world deepened. Joshua snuck me into his family's Victorian on Maple Street, all creaky stairs and lace curtains, his room a time capsule of trophies and faded Metallica posters. There, under the slanted ceiling, we'd lose hours to mixtapes and murmurs, his dreams of Ohio State scholarships, my scribbled stories of escape to New York lofts where love didn't hide in hollows. We'll go together, he'd vow, fingers threading mine, his body arching under my touch like a bowstring drawn taut. Intimacy evolved, not just fire, but flicker, lazy Sundays tracing tattoos, confessions over cold pizza about the boys who'd bullied us into silence. But Elmwood's underbelly stirred. Graffiti bloomed on the mill's walls overnight, fags out in dripping red, crude wolves with devil horns. Whispers in the locker room turned pointed. A freshman cornered Tyler about teaming up on more than plays. Sarah's clique tittering about Joshua's phase. Paranoia crept. Pack meetings shifting from revelry to reconnaissance. Scouting leaks. Eyes on outsiders. Someone's talking, Caleb growled one frostbit night, breath clouding as we huddled in the bed of his truck, engine idling for heat. And when we find em, they bleed. Joshua shut it down, voice alpha-edged. No. We rise above. Strength's not vengeance, it's visibility, but doubt wormed in, especially when my phone buzzed anonymous. Pack's a joke. Josh is a liar. Ask Cal about the tape. Heart stuttering, I confronted Caleb alone, cornering him behind the gym after weights, the air sharp with diesel from idling buses. Tape? What the fuck? Man? My voice cracked, fists balled against the cinder block chill. He leaned in, eyes narrowing, not defensive, but weary. Old shit, Alex. Sophomore year. Before you. Josh and me. Drunk at a party. Someone filmed grainy cell vid. Us fumbling in a bedroom. Thought we burned it. But, he trailed off, rubbing his jaw, stubble rasping. It surfaced last week. Anonymous drop in the group chat. Probably Sarah's revenge. Josh dumped her clean after homecoming. Rage boiled. Not at them, but the town, the vultures circling our fragile nest. Why hide it? Caleb's laugh was wry, a crack in his armor. Protect the pack. Pup. One leak, and scouts bolt, families fracture. But mostly, protect him. Josh carries enough guilt for both of us. His hand clapped my shoulder, heavy with unspoken apology. You're good for him, you know. Steady where I'm storm. The admission hung, a truce forged in vulnerability. We didn't speak of it again, but it shifted us, brothers in arms, if uneasy. That unity fueled the field. Our first playoff win was poetry. Joshua's passes threading needles. My blocks ironclad. Caleb's runs bulldozing yards like atonement. The town erupted, bonfires in backyards, horns blaring down Main, but victory's glow masked the gathering storm. It broke over Christmas break. Elmwood dusted in hoarfrost, strings of lights twinkling mockery from porches. I'd holed up with on the road and hot toddies. Joshua snowed in at a family ski trip to Aspen. Texts his lifeline. Miss your laugh. Counting sleeps. Caleb reached out unexpected. Midnight. Pack thing. Curiosity over caution. I bundled up, crunching through powder to the skeleton frame, lantern light spilling gold from within. They were all there, faces grave around a makeshift table of sawhorses. Devin nursing a flask, Marcus pacing, Tyler hulking silent. Joshua, wait. No. Just Caleb, eyes shadowed as he slid a manila envelope across. Merry fucking Christmas. Inside, printouts, screenshots, emails from a burner account to the local paper, Elmwood Mirror, grainy stills from the tape, blurred but unmistakable, witness statements from concerned parents about inappropriate team conduct, even a photo of our tattoos, wolves snarling in accusation. The leak wasn't random, it was orchestrated, a witch hunt led by none other than Pastor Hale, Sarah's fire and brimstone daddy, who'd caught wind via her spite and rallied the PDA like crusaders. Pasties declaring holy war, Caleb spat, pacing like a panther in snow. Says we're corrupting the youth, pushing for coach's head, scholarships yanked. Vids viral in whispers, already hit the dark web. Panic clawed my throat, visions of expulsion, exile flashing like bad acid. Joshua, does he know? Caleb nodded grim. Called from the slopes. Wants us to fight dirty, hack back, spread counterdirt. But that's not pack. That's panic. Devin chimed in, voice steady. We own it. Come out swinging, press conference. Tell our story. Alphas don't cower. Murmurs of agreement, but Marcus balked. My folks. They'll ship me to conversion camp. Tyler grunted, fists whitening, his own dad a cop, badge heavy as chains. I stood, envelope crumpling in my grip. Then we choose. Hide and hate ourselves, or stand and heal the town with us. Words bolder than I felt, but Caleb's gaze held respect. First time without thorns. By New Year's, Joshua was back, tanned and tense, pulling me into his truck for a drive to the quarry's edge, where iced-over water mirrored stars. "It's war, Alex," he said, dashboard glow carving shadows on his face. "But we win by being us, loud, proud, unbreakable." We planned in whispers, a pack manifesto, anonymous at first, then bold, letters to the mirror, a bonfire rally at the mill, invitations to Elias, the quiet librarian who'd slipped me Giovanni's room sophomore year, the trans barista at the diner with tattoos rivaling ours. Caleb surprised us, volunteering to front the vid response, not denial, but defiance. "Yeah, we're gay. Yeah, we're alphas. Deal with it." His vulnerability cracked us open, tears freezing on cheeks as we hugged it out under the quarry's vastness. Family reforged in firelight. But climax brewed darker. Valentine's week. The town hall erupted. Pastor Hale's mob chanting outside, pickets waving "God hates fags" like talismans, while inside, school board droned on suspensions. We crashed it, pack information. Joshua's speech a thunderclap. Elmwood raised us to fight, for yards, for dreams. Now fight for truth. We're your sons, your stars, not sinners. Cheers mixed with jeers. Caleb's arm around my shoulder's solidarity. But Hale's eyes locked on us, promising hellfire. That night, betrayal's second strike. Anonymous again, but this time a blade to the gut. Joshua's phone lit up during our post-rally debrief at the diner. A text from me, or so it appeared, "Meet at mill. Alone. Need to talk." Forged, obviously, but he went instinct, or trap, detailed, heart hammering, arriving to chaos. Joshua ambushed, Hale's goons circling with bats and Bibles, Caleb arriving seconds later to dive in fists first. The brawl was biblical. Fists flying in the lantern-lit gloom. Snow churned to slush under boots. Grunts and curses mingling with prayers spat like curses. I waded in, adrenaline alpha, landing a punch on a burly deacon that split my knuckles bloody. Joshua fought like a demon, shielding me even as a pipe grazed his ribs. Caleb took the worst, cracked orbital from a zealot's swing, but his roar rallied us, pack unbreakable. Sirens wailed eventual salvation, cops hauling Hale's crew as we slumped against walls, bruised but breathing. Joshua's hand in mine, Caleb's gnawed across the melee, bloodied lips curving faint. "Told you, pup." We bleed together, in the ER's sterile hum, stitches and ice packs our badges. Love crystallized. Joshua's kiss soft on my brow. "Couldn't lose you," and Caleb's quiet. "Sorry for the tape, the jealousy." Your pack. Forgiveness flowed. Humanistic balm on wounds old and new. But the war wasn't won. Hale's arrest just lit the fuse brighter. Spring unfurled tentative over Elmwood. Dogwoods blushing pink against the mill scars. Bullet holes patched hasty from the brawl. Graffiti scrubbed to ghosts. The town simmered, divided like a cracked fault. Mirror headlines screamed scandal at Elmwood High. But counterletters flooded in, alumni outing their own stories. The librarian's op-ed on hidden histories going viral on local Facebook groups. Playoffs paused pending investigations. Scholarships dangled by threads. But the pack? We thrived in the crucible. Bonds tempered steel strong. Caleb's black eye faded to yellow, but his smiles came easier, ribbing me over breakfast burritos at the diner. Pups got a mean right hook. Scout's honor. Joshua watched us, relief softening his edges. His hand always finding mine under tables. Public now. Defiant. School resumed a minefield. Stairs and hallways. Whispers like shrapnel. But we walked tall. Joshua's arms slung proud. My hoodies shed for tees bearing the wolf. Allies emerged unexpected. The freshman violinist who'd filmed our rally on her phone. Clip exploding to 1 million views. Coach Harlan. Gruffly admitting he'd suspected, since you boys started passing notes in '08. Vowing to fight the board. Even Sarah cracked, cornering Joshua in the parking lot. Mascara-streaked apology. I was scared. Of Dad. Of losing you. But be happy. Her hug awkward but real. A bridge burned to ash but rising phoenix. Our romance bloomed lush amid the thorns. Joshua and I claimed the quarry as sanctuary. Picnics of stolen pie and poetry. Me reading Whitman aloud while he sketched wolves in my notebook margins. His artist's hand, hidden talent, that capturing my profile with startling tenderness. Nights deepened intimate. Exploring boundaries in his room. Candle flicker tracing scars from the fight. His body yielding and yielding under my lead rolls fluid. Alpha's equal. I love how you see me, he'd gasp. Fingers in my hair. Not the QB. Just Josh. Love. Spoken daily now. Wove us tighter. Plans for postgrad road trips. NYU dreams where I'd write our story. Him suiting up for Buckeyes with pride flags in his locker. But conflict crested anew with the board hearing. A circus in the auditorium. Fluorescent buzz. Folding chairs creaking under pious asses. Hale's faction baying for blood. We testified en masse, Joshua first. Voice steady as steel. Football taught me team. This pack taught me family. Gay, straight, whatever we're Elmwood's heart. Punish that. You punish us all. Caleb followed. Black eye photo projected behind. His words raw. I hid so long I forgot my face. Alex, he reminded me. Don't take that from any kid here. My turn gutted me. Standing under those lights, wolves howling silent on my skin. I came to Elmwood ordinary. Scared. But these men. They showed me extraordinary. Betrayal? Sure, jealousy. Mistakes. But forgiveness? That's the real alpha move. Human. Applause erupted. Chaotic. Hale's booze drowned but not silenced. Board votes splitting razor thin. No suspensions. But sensitivity training mandated. Scholarships intact. Elation crashed post-hearing at the mill. Champagne popped illicit. Devin DJing from a Bluetooth speaker. Bodies swaying loose in the spring dusk. Joshua pulled me aside. To the rooftop overlook where rusted girders framed the horizon. We did it, he murmured. Lips brushing mine. Hands roaming free under my shirt. Heat built. Urgent. Clothes shed hasty. The cool air kissing skin as we claimed the space. Moans mingling with cricket's chorus. Climax hit like waves. Bodies shuddering in sync. His whisper in my ear. Forever, Alex. You and me. Pack eternal. But forever's fragile. Betrayal's third shadow fell swift. Anonymous again. But this time venomous. A doctored vid surfacing online. Pack initiation twisted pornographic. My tattooed hip blurred but identifiable. Whispers of statutory since I was 16 when inked. Hale's handiwork. Clear as sin. His parting shot from jail. Lawyer whispering leaks to tabloids hungry for small-town scandal. Panic fractured us. Joshua raged. Pacing my room. I'll kill him. Expose every skeleton. Caleb, surprisingly, cooled the fire, calling a pack summit at the quarry. Dawn's mist cloaking our circle. This ain't about one hit. Systemic, Hale's just the face. We fight smart, lawyers, media allies, our story unfiltered. Devin unearthed the source, a disgruntled board member with Hale ties, while Marcus crowdsourced legal aid from queer orgs online. Tyler stood sentinel, silent guardian. Me, I drowned in doubt, mirror mocking the ink that now felt like a target. Joshua held me through nights of sobs. His love anchor. They're liars, baby. You're my truth. The climax detonated mid-May, playoffs resuming under Klieg lights that felt like interrogations. We clawed to finals, Joshua's arm a cannon, Caleb's legs pistons, my line unbreachable but off-field. The siege peaked. Hale's mob rallied at the stadium gates, crosses and condemnations, news vans swarming like flies. Inside, pregame huddle. Coach's pep talk faltered, eyes wet. Boys. Win for you. Not them. The game was apocalypse, score nodded at halftime. Thunder rumbling promise of rain. Locker room electric. Pack chants drowning fear. But as we surged onto turf, a banner unfurled from the stands. Wolves are pedos. Resign. Jeers reigned. But we ran through. Joshua's spiral arcing perfect to Devin for the go-ahead. Fourth quarter. Down by 3. 2 minutes left. The play call. Audibled by Joshua's glance. Fake to Caleb. Screen to me in the flat. I caught it clean. Juking a linebacker. Streaking for pay dirt. Until the hit. Crestview's safety. Hale's nephew. Blindsided me, helmet to ribs. Illegal but unseen. Folding me like paper. Pain exploded. World tunneling black as I crumpled. Turf-kissing cheek. I woke to sirens. Joshua's face hovering pale in the ambulance glare. Caleb's hand crushing mine. Stay with us. Pup. Cracked ribs. Bruised lung. Out for the game. But Elmwood rallied. Caleb's touchdown scamper sealing victory. The stadium erupting in cathartic roar. Hospital haze. Monitors beeping. Mom's tears. Dad's awkward pat. But the pack flooded in flowers. Fist bumps. Joshua never leaving. Curled in the visitor chair. Whispering stories till I slept. News broke simultaneous. Hale arrested for incitement. Vid debunked as fake by forensics. Marcus's hacker cousin's work. Board ousting his allies. Victory. Pyrrhic but pure. In that bed. Tubes snaking arms. Love crystallized humanistic. Joshua's vow at my bedside. Ring box popped impulsive. Marry me? Not now. But someday? Tears salting our kiss. Caleb's toast later. Flask passed. To Alpha's. Broken. But whole. Healing came slow. Summer's bomb on bones and bonds. The pack evolved. Open now. Recruiting quiet. A beacon for Elmwood's hidden. Betrayal scars faded to stories. Strength in the sharing. Summer draped Elmwood in lazy gold. Fireflies scripting Morse in twilight. The mill reborn as haven. Picnics on its roof. Laughter echoing where fists once flew. My ribs knit grudging. PT a grind of sweat and small triumphs. But Joshua was physio and paramour. Coaxing me through laps at the quarry with kisses at the finish. Stronger every day, he'd say. Eyes crinkling. His body my reward. Nights in the bed of his truck. Stars canopy. Explorations tender amid the healing ache. Love matured. Less wildfire, more hearth. Conversations deepening over porch swings. his fears of pro scouts balking at our image, my dreams of publishing tales that queered the canon. The pack flowered outward, Caleb mentoring freshmen at a secret summer camp upstate, teaching more than tackles, self-worth workshops disguised as ropes courses. Devin and Marcus launched a zine, Wolf Howls, anonymous stories from queer kids nationwide, ink and pixels bridging hollows. Tyler, quiet sentinel, volunteered at the shelter, adopting a stray that mirrored his scowl progress in pause. We gathered weekly, bonfires smaller but brighter, toasts to Hale's trial guilty, sentenced light but landmark, his church splintering under its own hypocrisy. Betrayal's ghost lingered faint, a lesson etched, trust earned in thorns. Caleb and Joshua mended private, hikes where old wounds aired, forgiveness a hard-won spring. One night, beers around the pit, Cal pulled me aside. You saved us, Alex. Not just Josh, me too. From my own poison, his hug bear tight, alpha to alpha, sealed it no more shadows. Fall beckoned bittersweet. Senior year for them, my junior limbo. Joshua's scholarship locked, Buckeyes on full ride, Pride Parade in Columbus his victory lap. We planned logistics, weekends bridged by Amtrak, holidays hoarding touch. Distance tests, doesn't break, heat affirm, packing my bag with his hoodie, scent lingering like promise. Climax's echo faded to harmony, but one final ripple. The reunion game, Elmwood versus Crestview rematch under Harvest Moon. Stands packed neutral now, rainbow pins glinting amid the foam. I suited up sidelined, whistle in hand as student assistant, heart swelling as the pack took field. Joshua's nod pre-kickoff, Caleb's wink, family manifest. The win was symphony, spiral soaring, runs rumbling, defense a wall of wills. Post whistle, turf stormed by embraces, townies joining, barriers blurring. In the melee, Joshua found me, lifting me high, kiss public and unapologetic, cheers thundering approval. Our story, he yelled over the din, just starting. Epilogue unfolded autumnal. Leaves carpeting paths as we walked the mill's perimeter, pack trailing loose. Caleb tossed a football, spiraling perfect. Devin caught, spun to Marcus for a trick play. Tyler's dog bounded, yipping joy. Laughter free, unbridled, Alpha's ordinary no more, but extraordinary in our humanness. That night, rooftop under wheeling stars, Joshua and I lay tangled, his head on my chest. Think we'll make it? I murmured, fingers in his hair. His smile moonlit, hand over my heart. We already have. Betrayals, breaks all forged us. Love like ours? It's the real secret crowd, waiting for the brave. And in Elmwood's quiet heart, we were brave. Wolves, howling home. The end came not tragic, but tender, a humanistic hymn to flawed families, loves that endure thorns. Ordinary school, transformed. Alphas awaited, and I claimed my place among them, forever pack, forever his.